right. Okay. So we're on to the third part. Uh, Congratulate yourself. You can consider yourself a creator. You can definitely consider yourself a creator now. You have a basic idea for a story. You can break down a story to say someone and say, "Hey, this is my story. This is my idea that I'm working on, and this is what I'm building." You can actually say that now. So, congratulations. Now, we're gonna move on. Not really move on, but we're gonna go a little bit deeper into the character. Now, there are a million and one ways to work. What I'm doing for you today is I'm providing you one, I'm providing you mine. Uh, you might feel like doing this another way. Somebody might tell you to do this another way, but this is the way that I work. I work from the inside out, meaning that when I'm building a character in a world, I start with the character, the main protagonist, build that person, and then I branch out from there, if that makes any sense to you. Because there's more to a character than superpowers and a look or a costume or a name. No, it goes a lot deeper than that. Let me show you an example. So if you remember, let's just go back actually to our Spider-Man idea. So we know Spider-Man is more than just a guy in a suit, right? That swings around and jumps and flips. No, there is a ton of depth that comes with Spider-Man. So when we think about Spider-Man, what do we know about him aside from this? We know that his name is Peter Parker. This is something that's common knowledge. We know that he lives with his aunt and his uncle, his aunt May and his uncle Ben. We know that this is true. This is just something that goes with the character. These are very important people to the origin story of this character. So you can see that character goes way beyond the name, way beyond a cape, way beyond what the person can do. But when you want to add depth to the character, which is something you should probably do, then you open up that character's world to things outside of just what we see on the surface level. So we know about his family life, right? We know that he has a girlfriend. His girlfriend's name is Mary Jane. This is common knowledge to anyone who is a fan of Spider-Man. If you don't know that MJ is the nickname, then you're probably not a Spider-Man in fan in the least, but that's fine. But these are things that are common. We know that his best friend name is Harry Osborn. It doesn't matter what rendition of Spider-Man we're talking about. These things say the same. It's called continuity. I don't even know where this Spider-Man and Osborn came from, but I know that this was from a Spider-Man show, and his best friend is Harry Osborn. We know that Harry Osborn's father is Norman Osborn. We know that Norman Osborn is a very wealthy man, and he owns Oscorp. We know that he does scientific experiments, and that's how he becomes the Green Goblin. We see there's so much to be known in the idea of a character that it takes time to build, it takes time to develop. But if one thing is true about all of this stuff is that regardless of where it ended, it started out as the idea. It started out as I got an idea for this guy that got bit by a spider. Okay. So we still have time to build an idea. And you can take your idea to that level if you put the time and the effort into it. So last time we were working, we ended off with our ideas. So let's pull out your pad, pull out your document reader to pull out, open the document that you last had open, and let's get right back into it. And we're gonna dive more into our character. We're gonna focus on the who and build that character up a little bit more to make the world that the character lives in a lot more interesting. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so here it is. So now here's my document. If you remember my first document, it this looks like this doesn't even look like the first bit that I wrote because I'm developing the idea. And that's something I should have told you at the end of last video is Don't just put it away. Outside of this tutorial, outside of this, develop your idea, add more, take away, find things that might be perplexing, that might be interesting terms of events. You can always add stuff and take it away, because right now we're just throwing on the clay. If you're thinking about molding a sculpture, we're throwing on the clay in this part right here. So, all right. So my character's name is Gabby. And I think I don't like that name anymore. I think I want to call my character Jade. I like that name. It just, I don't know, it feels better. So I got a new name, Jade. And Jade is a teenager, right? She's actually, I'm going to say she's 17 years old. So Jade is 17 years old. And I mean, she got about a year left of high school. So if she's in high school, guess what? I got to figure out what her high school name is. And we can revert back to our where. So she's in New York City. So her high school could be called Uptown High. Okay, so she goes to Uptown High. So what's her high school life like? Uh, she's an outcast slash nerd because she loves anime, the thing that I'm talking about, and not many people identify with that. And actually, this gives me an idea. As you see how this thing, one thing builds on top of the other. So a popular name for people who love anime is otaku. So I think I actually might want to call this series Otaku. I like that. Yeah. So now I got a tentative name for my series, Otaku. Okay. So it follows Jade, a 17-year-old girl. She's a 17-year-old girl that goes to Uptown High. She's an outcast slash nerd, right? She has a, let's say she has a best friend. So let's say she has a best friend named Julia. No, Jules. I'm gonna call her Jules, but Julia slash Jules. Julia slash Jules. Um, she lives with her mom and dad. So Jade lives with her mom and dad. Lives with mom and dad. Okay, so far now this character has depth. So what that means is now my character has things and attributes and characteristics about herself that people can actually identify with. Now, this is key. Now, a 17-year-old girl who actually might be an outcast in the world and love anime would really identify with this story. Do you see what's happening here? So now this we can talk about this very much later, but now I have a target audience in mind for my series. Um Teenagers, high schoolers. They would probably really be into this type of story. So let's see what I'm gonna move on to my what now. So she gets trapped inside of an anime. That's a cool idea, but I think that it could go a step further. I think, let's say, a a technology uh research experiment goes wrong. I think this is interesting. So a technology research experiment goes wrong. Actually, I think it's going to be regarding VR, like VR headsets. Something goes wrong, and uh, and it merges the anime world with the with reality. Okay, so now I'm starting to develop a plot of my story a little bit. Let me just fix this little typo here, though. Anime world with reality. So now I have a what. So I have a who. I have a little bit more of a solid who. I have a little bit more of a solid what now. So I know that Jade is a 17-year girl at Uptown High. And she has a friend named Jules. She lives with her mom and dad. I know all these little things. These are things that I will add into the story and implement them in certain ways. As far as my what goes, I said a technology research experiment goes wrong. It's going to be regarding VR and it merges the anime world with reality. So now, how do I apply my main character to what's going on? Well, with her knowledge of anime, it's left up to Aid to save the day. Now, how would she save the day with her use of her knowledge of anime? Well, like I said earlier with my idea, maybe she has access, a person has access to the powers of anime characters. How about of the last anime character they watched? And I'm just spitballing here. I'm not even. This is not even set in stone. So this is the story. This is the baseline story. So Jade, a 17-year-old girl, she goes to a technology expo. An experiment goes wrong. I see her messing around with the VR, something along those lines, saying, "Oh, this is cool. I would love to watch my anime on this." Somehow, a technology accident happens. The anime world that she's talking about gets merged with reality, and now she is the only one of the few ones that can actually save the day, save her town, save her city because of her extensive knowledge of anime and the powers that all of these characters have. Maybe she has access to the powers of the last character she watched. So this is how you can make it cool. One thing that I'll put of note when I said earlier that I would use anime characters that were from known animes. No, definitely wouldn't do that because that's a copyright problem. That's a whole nother discussion that we're going to talk about as well. We having an original idea. It's not a problem being derivative in having inspirations of things, but you cannot knock off characters that are already established and things of that nature. But we're focusing on spitballing and just figuring out this idea here. So what you need to do is you need to take some time yourself, develop your who. So who is the character? How old are they? Do they go to school? Do they have a job? What do they like? What do they dislike? What are their what is their temperament like? Things of that nature. And another example of this, let's take a look at my average Joe character, Max Buchanan, and I'll show you how I developed him. Okay, so let's look at my character, Max Buchanan, right? So, this is pretty much the stuff that I developed on him, and I didn't develop this one, two, three. Things changed, things went back and forth. A lot of things that I thought were cool for him, I decided to take away. So, Max Buchanan, his hero name is Average Joe. He's a working class resident of Frost City. He turned vigilante crime fighter, fighting alongside some of the most powerful heroes in the world. He'll make his mark on his community, inspiring the average Joe to step out of their over dependence on heroes and fight for what's right. And then I said his signature look includes white button down shirt, black pants, black tie, red ski mask with glasses under, glasses, twin red pistols, and I talk about his design, his costume. I said that his story progresses. He sports a black hoodie and cargo pants along with his signature pistols and red ski mask. So he actually progresses, and then he actually further digresses progresses and has this hockey mask and things like that. So, I mean, I had it planned out prior, but it started just like we're starting right now with our stories. It started off with a bunch of rough ideas, and I took those ideas and I developed them further. So, what I need you to do moving forward, I need you to, every time you get a chance, go back into your document, look at your character, put some likes, put some dislikes. You can, people go as far as finding out their character's favorite color. All of these things could possibly come to play at some point in your story. So there's no limit to amount of things that you can add to your character to build them up and make your story even more interesting, make your characters have even more depth, and to make your world a little bit more interesting. So, with that being said, I hope that you got some valuable information from me today. I hope that I was able to give you a little bit more information. I hope that you were able to build up your character a little bit more so that you can take it to the next level and have them have a life outside of just the identity that they'll have on the cover of your book or when you're showing off art. So, if you got any value from this, if you've been getting value from this tutorial, I am glad. If you haven't already, please, please, please subscribe to my channel so that I can be able to reach more people and give more people advice on how to build their character, their comic book careers, and develop their characters and their story. So thank you very, very much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.